Welcome to JavaScript Design Patterns, a packed publication. I'm your host, Ben Falla.
A packed publishing. I'm your author, Ben Falla. The purpose of this title is to give you a deep dive overview of the world of JavaScript design patterns, demonstrating to you how could you mobilize key programming concepts and common solutions to common problems that JavaScript developers face. By the end of this course, you're going to be armed with the understanding of the techniques to leverage this many design patterns, 20 design patterns that will literally change the way you program. Not only will you understand them, you're also going to understand when is best to apply them. This title is sectioned into 5 sections, wherein the first section is going to be dedicated to those first steps in JavaScript. It assumes you know JavaScript and maybe even a little bit object-oriented JavaScript. The focus is not about the foundations of the language, but the foundations of design patterns. And with it, we're going to be introduced and we're going to talk about global scope. We're going to talk about the namespace design pattern. We're going to talk about a few other design patterns that their main intention is to hide the global scope and even create privacy in JavaScript, which is natively not supported. And we're going to learn how to do that using the reveal pattern and the module reveal patterns. So we're going to learn quite a lot of patterns, and all these patterns together are going to give us the baseline, the foundation for everything else we're going to do in the rest of the title.
The creational patterns are going to be our main topic of section 2.
Really into 3 categories. The first category, which we're going to meet inside of section 2, is creational design patterns.
One was the creational patterns, and the creational
patterns that relate to the creation of new objects. There's quite a few of them. We're going to meet the singleton, the factory, the abstract factory, the builder, and even the prototype design patterns. And through them, we're going to learn about the best techniques and when to use them to create new objects. That was section 2.
In section 3 and 4, we're going to look into the structural patterns, and the structural patterns really go into
structural design patterns. Structural design patterns, contrary to the process of creating one object, focus on the architecture of your whole application. Structural design patterns focus on the structuring of the creation of your objects and classes and so forth. In section 3, we're going to meet the adapter, composite, and the decorator design patterns, while in section 4, we're going to continue exploring these design patterns, these structural design patterns, and we're going to meet the flyweight, the facade, the bridge, and the proxy design patterns. Once you get all of these design patterns, you're going to have a lot of really
the structure of classes, or in the case of JavaScript, of objects, and how do you organize your code structurally to make them the most efficient, specifically to patterns. And we're going to look at the different patterns that relate to structural patterns.
And in the last section, we're going to move on to behavior patterns, category of design patterns, which is the behavioral design patterns.
And the behavioral patterns are really when objects are interacting with other objects, and what are the best ways for us to create those type of interactions, such as, for example, we talked about events previously, and we're going to look more deeply in the section of those behavioral patterns. So those are the 3 common categories, and you could definitely have others. It doesn't have to sit inside, and there's definitely patterns that could overlap between different patterns, and there's definitely patterns that might need the use. So that's really it about the core structure of this course, really, in a way, and this foray to what are design patterns. In the next lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a problem. We're going to forget about this conversation about patterns for a few lectures, and we're going to go right